Hello everyone, this is HuskyStarcraft here, back with some more Ladder Anxiety series. This time I am going to be going up against another Master Zerg level player, and this time it is going to be from a replay. I do like to kind of cycle between casting live and casting the replays after the fact, just because if I cast the replays after the fact, I can talk a little bit about what my opponent's doing, and if I cast during the game, I can talk a little bit about why I'm doing everything that I am, but it does make it a little bit more difficult to concentrate playing and talking at the same time can be quite tough. So I do like to mix it up a little bit and do both angles. So anyways, I'm spawning up on the top left side, and my opponent up on the top right side is that Master League level Zerg player you saw. It is Sidious from the clan DKPC. Now, yeah. The map here is such a funny map. There is the little bridge that connects the two bases. Makes scouting out your opponent ridiculously easy. And I honestly think, and I'm kind of sad to say this, I think Blizzard will be getting rid of the centerpiece. And I just want to tell you that as an average level diamond player, having this piece right here is a lot of fun. I actually really like having this area. It makes a very unique map layout, and lots of interesting stuff can be used there. Is it balanced? Because they can actually get creeped to your base within the first like 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. But either way, I'm sure there's lots of builds that abuse that. But as an average player, it is something that I quite enjoy seeing. Now, right now, I did scout him out. I saw, all right, we got a lot of drones, no spawning pool just yet. I'm going to go down here. Now, normally, actually, is he scouting with this? Yeah, okay, so he's going to scout with that drone. Now, normally, what a Zerg player is going to do is go for a spawning pool first, and he went for a 15 or a 16 pool right there. I think it was 15, and that is completely standard here. The reason I didn't drop a pylon down there is simply because I don't think he's going to expand just yet. Now, I could sit down there and wait forever, but I wanted to get confirmation that there is going to be a spawning pool, which there is, and I'm going to have my probe over here just kind of scouting around a little bit to see exactly what's going on. Now, I am going to be going Nexus first here. Now, this is, in my mind right now, going Nexus first is actually a little bit of a risk. The reason for that is that, oh, dropped my forward right there. The reason is that I don't really have these rush distances memorized because of this map being kind of weird. So I don't know if I have time to go for Nexus first, but we are about to find out. As I decide to go Nexus first regardless, the forge is on the way, and trying not to get myself supply blocked. That is something that I am very good at, is getting supply blocks. So I want to delay that as much as possible, and my probe is going to be continuing to scout out right now. Did I scout the third base yet? No, I didn't look for a third base just yet, as I am just a little bit worried about those lings still. I am going to be sending down my probe here. Should be dropping down a cannon somewhere right at the entrance as soon as I have enough. Come on, little guy. There you go. All right, so I got that down. I am going to be saving up for a gateway as well because I want to wall this in as best as I can. I'm not sure if this is the best layout. The forge might be able to be back one more square to be lined up with the gateway there, but that's just a minor thing as long as for the most part you are walled in. And I gotta say, as a Protoss player, I personally hate going for the forge fast expand, but I've kind of learned that you really need to. There's not a whole lot of good one base plays for Protoss anymore versus Zerg. It's just kind of how the matchup shapes up now, as Zerg players have learned when to do what and how to hold off all the one base plays that Protoss could possibly do. Alright, so my expansion is now up, and main base is saturated quite well. I'm going to go ahead and start throwing those guys into gas. Now, I want to say that in this game, I definitely didn't play perfectly. My decision-making was good, but I feel like I did it a little bit late, and we'll be kind of showing that a little bit as this game goes on. There is going to be a third base down here. In all honesty, I'm kind of surprised to see him take a third there instead of here. The thought process, though, might be that if he just destroys these rocks right here, this base might actually be easier to defend than this base over here, because look at how close this base is to being able to be basically connected to my expansion. I mean, those rush distances, even an Overlord can rush that distance. It is so small. So maybe his thought process there is that, you know what, it's going to be difficult to defend this, which is actually kind of true, because if this little blob of no space was actually like right here or something, or against this wall, if this came in, then it would be easier to defend because you would just leave units here. But since there's another path around here, it's very difficult because where do you leave your army? Do you leave it here? Well, then units can slip inside. Do you leave it over here? Again, they can go around the other side. So players are still kind of figuring out exactly how this map plays out. Now, right now, I actually got a really good scout off with my probe here, and I did not expect to get this good of a scout in, and I basically see everything that's going on. Now, the thing that is weirding me out about this is that I haven't really seen anything. I don't know, does he have a hidden something somewhere? Is he proxying a crazy hatchery and setting up a contain? Is there tech I haven't seen yet? In all honesty, though, he's just macroing up. He's getting out lots of drones. His production is 4 drones at a time, and is just really kind of working on that. So I was a little bit weirded out at the time of scouting this. I didn't know exactly what he was doing. I mean, when I scouted it, it looked like he was just going for a big macro play, and thankfully for me, I did scout that correctly. Now, the Overlord here is going to be spotting all of my gateways here, but notice, all right, I can't stop, I won't stop it. But basically, I saw the Overlord, so I actually threw down gateways underneath the Overlord, and I canceled 2 of them there in lieu of double Stargate, which is something that I love doing against Zerg right now. Void Rays are extremely powerful. The important thing is that if the Overlord scouts your tech, you have to cancel it, throw it down, and then try to attack as quickly as you can, but more importantly, you have to try and deny scouting. Now, one thing my opponent does very well this game is scouting. He actually goes for Overlord speed. You can see the Numanized Carapace on the way right now. He's going for Overlord speed to keep that scouting up, and this is something that proved to be very frustrating for me, and I would highly recommend this to Zerg players out there, is get that Numanized Carapace and just keep on scouting. Now, the fact of the matter is that I did force him to have to react with some units. That's why he has the Roach Horn down right now. He is still transferring over drones as he just finished killing off those rocks right now, but he is going to have to react by getting out lots of units. Now, you can see he is making lots of Overlords because he wants to follow it up with some units. I do have the double Void Ray on the way, and I got to say that double Void Ray, the thing I like about going double Void Ray, and I know a lot of you are just going to roll your eyes and be like, all right, Husky, why do you keep doing this? The thing I like about the double Void Ray is that it forces some sort of anti-air. So it's going to be either Hydralisks, or they could already be going for Mutas. Now, if they're going for that, that is basically me setting the pace of the game. Because if they go for Hydralisk, then I can switch to Colossus. Look at that, the Overlord making a mad dash, and he does actually get a really good scout. And oh, he did see both of those. I didn't realize that during the game. I thought he only saw one. So he did see both of these Void Rays on the way, which is not very good for me at all. His scouting was top-notch, so I am going to go ahead and move out. The fact that he scouted that is actually making me move out a little bit earlier, and trying to put on pressure before he has more anti-air. Now, he knows about he knows that I have Void Rays here, so he has the Hydralisk in on the way. Really would have liked to have been able to deny that scout if possible. He even sends out another Overlord here. This is something that he's been doing really good this entire game and will continue to do, is trying to scout. Now, he did get supply blocked here. I do have 2 more Void Rays on the way, bringing it up to a total of 4. Really, ideally, I would have been moving in already, but I wanted to wait for 2 more Void Rays, and it's kind of hard for me to tell exactly what he has going on here. The other Void Rays, though, are about to arrive, and the main problem is that there's a lot of roaches here, and I will have a major miss micro fail here as I keep accidentally grabbing my Void Rays. If my Void Rays would have just sat back and attacked the entire time, that would have been great, because there's really no anti-air here. So this is definitely an epic micro fail happening in real time. And I do eventually grab those Void Rays and get them separated, because Queens are not really that great versus Void Rays. I mean, if they have a bunch of Queens, they can be, but for now, I'm able to just press on down here. Now, he does have Hydralisks on the way, but remember, there's really no way for me to engage this army directly, because he has way too many Roaches, way too many Hydras, and he has even a couple... Does he still have a couple stand? Just one. Just one Zerging in there, so he's not going to play a big role. But I do decide to leave the Void Rays here because there's just not enough Hydras for him to kill off my Void Rays until more and more start to respawn. I don't really think that ended up being worth it for me, but I was able to reduce his queen count down to 2, and you got to remember that he is on 3 bases, so he wants to have queens. That means he's not injecting larvae down here, and he's actually supply blocked from the amount of Overlords I've been able to snipe. But now... this is kind of a problem for me because he's got lots of Roaches and he's got lots of Hydras, and he actually does have enough to start pressuring me right now. I do go ahead and kill off that pylon. I set up that pylon so that I was worried about a Zergling counterattack, because remember, I saw some Zerglings down here a little bit earlier, and I did not want the Zergling counterattack to be something that, you know, took me by surprise and killed me, to be quite frank. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a pylon right here. This is just to mess with the AI, because you got to remember that if this army is told to attack, move to up here, if he's not paying attention, his army will start to go all the way down here, and I might be able to catch them out of position. That's not a guaranteed thing whatsoever, but it's definitely kind of my thought process there. Now, the Overlord is going to be scouting out once again. He is going to see the double robo, and this is so frustrating for me because this game I was able to set the pace, but he scouted it every single time. So I'm going to be able to kill off the Overlord there. but he spotted my double robo, which really sucks for me. I'm going to go ahead and cancel one of those. Actually, I decided to cancel both of them in lieu. Am I even saying that right? In lieu of going for High Templar. So I'm trying so hard to mind game this guy, but he just keeps scouting it. So what my thought process is right now is, okay, he spotted my Void Rays, so he was able to hold it off with perfectly timed Hydras. He now spotted my Robo, so he's going to be able to hold that off with Corruptors. So what I'm going to do is go for Psystorm and Archons in hopes that he goes for Roach Corruptor, because Psystorm and Void Rays are going to be really, really good versus Roach Corruptor. Now, unfortunately for me, he doesn't do that quite yet. He did start the Spire, though. I think this is later than I would have personally liked. But he is going to be going for the Spire. He has 2/2 upgrades on the way. I only have +1 attack. That's something I should be working on here a little bit more. But I am forced to morph an Archon right now. The +1 attack not going to be the best. I do activate the Prismatic Alignment ability. Unfortunately, they're not really attacking the Roaches there, as they do go for the Hydras by default. But I am going to be able to hold this off for now, just because I killed off all of his anti-air, and I continue to produce Void Rays at an alarming rate. Remember that Void Rays are really, really, really good. Because they're great versus Corruptors and Hydras. As Protoss, you have a lot of things that can deal with Hydras. Psystorm is one of them. Colossus is another one. So the fact that Protoss has Void Rays as a reliable unit, it means that you have a chance versus maxed out Roach armies, maxed out Roach Corruptors armies, maxed out Roach Hydra armies, just because that Void Ray kind of fills that gap that Protoss has been lacking for a very long time. Here's another Scouting Overlord. This is so sick. I gotta say that this was driving me crazy in the game, but it's one of those things where I kind of had to respect my opponent, because I'm like, you know what, this guy's doing really good with his scouting. Now, right now, I do have a lot of money in the bank, because I have been warping in a lot of High Templar, and the fact of the matter is that I'm very, very low on gas, very high on minerals, so I do have the expansion up and running now, my third base, which still kind of feels like a natural, just because it's so close to my natural. There's going to be the creep spread right there, and I'm kind of curious, does the pylon block the creep spread? I actually don't know. I've never been in this situation before. Nope, the pylon's like, go ahead, creep, move on through, and these creep tumors can definitely spot the other side, so we can continue that creep spread if you would like. A fourth base is on the way. Now, this is the point of the game where I should be trying to use warp prisms. This is something that I personally know I need to improve on. It's something that is even frustrating for me, because, for example, if I wasn't scouting right now, which I'm not, and he went for Mass Muta, that could be giving me one hell of a time, just because Mass Muta is so freaking good. I'm going to be hiding a base down in the bottom left side. I think the Overlord spots this, though, just because of this pylon here. I should have scouted a little bit better with my probe. But anyways, I should be trying to harass right now, because what I want to do at this stage of the game is actually try and force it to the later stages, because guess what? A lot of Hydras are out, so the longer the game goes on, the more it's going to favor me. I'm going to have more Psystorm, I'm going to have more Colossus, and the Void Rays are still going to hold their own. Now, the base over here is definitely going to get taken out. The whole Hydra army is going to be moving down. He does have pretty good creep spread coming up, and is about halfway through the center of the map, which is quite impressive. And yeah, takes out that base down there. I am forced to cancel it, which doesn't make me feel great. Now, you got to remember that Protoss on 3 bases is pretty powerful. You can have a maxed out army for quite some time. I do have a lot of minerals once again, but I am dangerously close to being maxed out. And unfortunately, I haven't started researching Charge yet, because I knew I was behind in upgrades already. So I'm focusing on getting out upgrades and getting a maxed army out. So I'm going to go ahead and move out right now with everything I've got. I got the Void Rays, High Templar in here. I do not have an Observer, so I can't deal with these creep tumors just yet. I do notice his Lings are trying to get in position, but look at this attack from 3 different directions. I am going to have to try and storm everything I can. High Templar a little bit out of position. There we go, throwing down the storms. Not as good as I would have liked. I definitely have to keep the High Templar alive as best as I can, but I have lots of energy for Storm. And again, the Void Rays here are proving very effective against the Hydras because of the Psystorm. I can hear a lot of Zerg players out there getting very agitated. But you also have to remember that he decided to go for pure Hydra, which has never really been great versus late game Protoss, because we've always had Archons, we've always had Storm, and we've always had Colossus. Now, of course, Hydras do move quicker. That's why he was able to dodge just a little bit better. But I am deciding to be aggressive here. I've warped in. Oh, God, apparently these High Templar did not realize they were out there completely exposed. He could have sniped those so easily. So my High Templar do manage to make it here alive. And I forget actually where I throw down storms. It must be right here, though, as this army is attempting to dodge them. And I am out of energy, so I decide to morph them into the Archon right now. However, there is enough Hydras here to finally start cleaning up my Void Rays. So my Void Rays have definitely got to get out of there as best as they possibly can. I think I'm down to 5 right now. One of them, I think, has 1 HP. Yes, he does. I decided to turn around to engage there. But he does eventually hold this off. Remember that Roach Hydra is kind of like the new Marine Marauder. So what that means is it's very good against gateway units, and it is good against Void Rays if you don't have the storms to back it up. So once the momentum shift started to go towards Zerg there, that is when he's going to be able to kill off my army without me killing anything. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and retreat back home, and I do throw down a Robo finally right there, and I do again have a lot of minerals, and I'm starting to hover a lot of gas, so I should be doing big warp ins of units here. Just warped in a bunch of zealots down there, and I am attempting to harass with my Void Rays just because I'm trying to buy myself some more time. I know he has Hydras to be able to deal with this, but I want to try and buy time because in my mind, I just lost that battle pretty one-sidedly, and I'm having difficulty spending that money. So that's why I'm throwing down 2 Robos right now, and I just need to keep doing warp ins when I can. Warp gates are coming off of cooldown right now, and really I should have more production than this. There's really no excuse for this. If we take a look at my structures tab, I only have 9 warp gates. This is 9 warp gates off of 3 bases. That is not enough. That is why I'm hovering a lot of money here. This is why it's painful to watch the replay. But again, the whole point of ladder anxiety is to learn from our mistakes. And right now the Hydras are going to be chasing down the Void Rays. God, Hydras are so fast. They move at 2.81. Void Rays move at 2.25. So I'm trying to find a good angle where I can keep these Void Rays alive. And I can hide them down here. I think I try and regroup them with my army a little bit later. But again, just not enough production quite yet. I do have the Colossus tech on the way. And at this point, even though I'm losing these Void Rays, which really, really sucks, they're kind of worthless at this point because look at how many Hydras he actually has. He is at 44 Hydras, which is got to just crush through Archon and Void Ray. So what I really need is continued Storm, and I need to start getting some Colossus. My little probe right here going to try and move down for an expansion. He gets taken out. 2-2 has been done for a while. He does have Hive Tech on the way, and we'll be working towards basically anything he wants at a Hive Tech, whether it's going to be more upgrades, whether it's going to be Ultralisks. We will have to wait and see. Now, I'm finally going to be working on Zealot Legs. Like I said, my decision-making was definitely slow this game. If you notice, I'm actually going for Immortals right now because I had a slight misread on how many Roaches I thought he had. So at this point, I'm thinking, all right, if he has a lot of Roaches, I'm going to get Immortals, and then I'm going to use Psystorm for the Hydralisks is my thought process. Unfortunately, I did have a bad read on how many Roaches he actually had. However, Immortals are pretty good. Once you start to get several upgrades as Protoss, having Immortals are actually quite nice. They're very robust. If you look at them, they have 300 total HP. I mean, that is not bad at all. It's a little bit less than an Archon, but of course they have a much higher range. So definitely something to keep in mind there is that they are quite good. Now, the Overlord over here is going to be quite distracting. The Hydra is going to be taking out my rocks right there, but I do go ahead and try and secure a 4th base. So as I've said before, I mean, I really love to focus on macro. I think that is what my strength is. Definitely not in this game, though. But anyways, he does decide to engage over here, and I will gladly eat up these Hydras with some Storm. Remember that Hydras only have 80 HP, so if they sit there and eat a Storm, they will die because Storm does 80 damage there, so you have to dodge it. So that was one of the most one-sided battles I've ever had. And it really comes down to he's getting stuck in this mentality where he feels like he has to go for pure Hydra because Hydra will kill Stalker, it will kill Zealot, it'll kill Immortal, and it'll kill Archon. But if I have the Storms to deal with it, you just can't keep doing that. So I'm going to be working on the Colossus tech here pretty soon. I've extended Thermal Lance on the way because I've seen, you know what, this guy is content going with lots of Hydra. So if I can get out some Colossus, that's going to really help out. I have a lot of cannons being thrown down at this base. Apparently I'm talking to myself there in observer chat, but anyways, there's a lot of things that I haven't done perfect this game, and this was actually a really big learning game for me. And that number 1, Storm is really good versus Zerg if they have a lot of Hydras. Number 2, Void Rays are really good, but I shouldn't necessarily rely on them just to end up winning me games. And number 3, I need more upgrades, man. Got to get more and more upgrades. But I do have the Colossus on the way. First ones will be spawning here momentarily. And I am transferring down. Let's see. Do I transfer them over here? No, I'm actually going to start long distance mining. That's right. Because at this point in the game, I have 77 probes, which is a pretty good number. But I don't really have anything for them to do. So I'm just going to be having them long distance mine for now. And if they get intercepted, that is what the army right here is for, is that I can swing around and kill that army off. Now again, I think one of the main things I need to be doing this game is harassment and scouting. Thankfully for me, I made all the correct moves because he ends up going for an Ultralisk Cavern here. I already have the Immortals out. He ended up getting a lot of Hydras. I already had the Colossus out. But if he would have went for Mass Muta, I would have been in trouble because you have to think about the anti-air capabilities of Protoss. They aren't that great versus a death ball of like 50 mutas. Yes, there are players who will get 50 mutas out. So if he would have done that to me, I would have just had to rely on Psystorm alone, which at this point wouldn't have been the worst. But yeah, just definitely something to keep in mind there is that scouting is very important. But look at the creep spread right now of Sidious. I mean, he's got like the entire map covered in creep. He is maxed out. He is continuing his creep spread as well. Taking a look at the APM tab, you can see we're about the same as far as APM is concerned. Queen going to go ahead and move all the way down to the bottom right side, and he does have some spine crawlers coming up. So I would say for him, actually throwing down just ridiculous amount of spines might not be that bad of an idea. But look at this. This creep is literally touching my base now all the way across the map. He is going to be spotting exactly what's coming up right here. And this pylon is still somehow alive up here. Can't believe that that thing is still alive. But I do decide to finally add on more gateways. I should have done this a long time ago just in the main base. I had plenty of room up here. Definitely a big mistake that I had during this game. And my army right now, though, is looking pretty good. I decided to move out as soon as I have 4 Colossus here because I feel like 4 Colossus is just so much better than having 2 but attacking a little bit earlier. So I am going to be moving forward here. I am pushing his creep back. This is very deliberate because I'm saying, okay, he's moving down here to attack my bottom left side. If I can kill off his creep, that's going to take up all of his map vision. I already know where his army's at. I'm not going to make it down here to save this base anyway. And if he kills a couple of probes, I have plenty of money to warp in more units. And honestly, I could use the more additional supply right now. Taking a look at the army supply, 122 to 118. But the fact that he switched to Ultralisk now it's going to be tough for him because if I can get a couple of good storms in here, if my High Templar actually go the right way, there they go. Throwing down the storms, throwing down the Immortals, blast shots on the Ultralisk there. So I'm going to be able to clean this up. And again, this is why I decided to clean up some of the creep tumors first, is that I already knew, look, this base has got to be gone. There's no way he can just focus fire and kill it, and it's going to be gone. Losing the gateways, it kind of sucks. Yes, it does. But, you know, I had a feeling that I was going to be able to kill his army. It was out of position. It overcommitted and was going to be in a lot of trouble. So I am pushing his creep all the way back at this point. This is where Protoss starts to get a little bit of momentum. And I finally have the first counterattack I've ever done in this game ever. I guess the Void Rays was kind of a counterattack, I say, as I hit puberty. But my Stalkers over here are going to be taking out some of the drones. And this is the kind of multitasking that you need to do as Protoss a lot earlier and a lot more consistently. So I'm going to be working cleaning up these creep tumors right now and just killing off as many as I can. And I do decide, you know what, I have 4 Archons on the way. I want to start regrouping all of my army together. Again, killing off more and more creep because his map vision is now way, way less. There's hardly any map vision for him remaining. So that's really, really good for me. And the creep does start to recede. It takes a long time to recede, but eventually it will recede, which means I will have advantages in fighting in the middle of the map. Now, at this point, Zergplayer has ended up losing a lot. That's because I've been able to retain my units. Random Ultralisk there decides to run by me. Probably not the best choice, but he does have near fully upgraded Ultras. This is a lot of Ultras, and at this point, I think he's going to try and go for the base race situation. Unfortunately for me, my 2 Colossus here just get completely intercepted. They did not stand a chance. You are on the wrong side of town for sure. Oh, pushes over the edge there. That's kind of cool. But either way, he is going to go for the base race. Now, the reason I am okay with this is because I know that his army right now probably won't be able to kill mine. I have a lot of Immortals in here. I see no anti-air. And even if he kills off all these probes and everything, at this point, whoa, goodbye, probe. I really don't care because that's just giving me more supply to make more units. So I'm going to be working on spending all my remaining money on Void Rays right now because I can see his army. He's attacking me with everything he's got right now, and there is no anti-air in that army. So what that means is if I can get out enough Void Rays, I'll be able to do a lot of damage to that army. Now, I'm trying to hide the fact that I have Void Rays right now. Eventually, I do have to reveal it, though, because, well, there's a bunch of units in my base, so I can try and kill it off. Now, Void Rays takes a very, very, very long time to kill off an Ultralisk, but hey, I'm at least doing damage to the army. And at this point, I don't want him to have time to get Hydras out. That is my one main concern right now, because if he gets Hydras out, then the Ultra Hydra army might actually be able to engage me directly, and I do not want that. So if he only has Ultralisk, it's basically impossible for him to win, because I can keep running buildings all around the map. So that is why I'm moving out, cleaning out everything I can find, making sure his tech gets taken out, as I do see the base down in the bottom right side, and I'm going to be able to take this out. And again, there's no spawning pool, there's no Hydra den, there's nothing that I really have to worry about here. He's trying to cram out enough Overlords, but he's got a long way to go. My Void Rays are still chasing this army down. Now, right now, my main concern here is that if he manages to somehow kill all my buildings, then I will outright lose the game. But I have now forced him to have to retreat at an angle to engage my army directly, and that is what I want. I want him to be forced to engage me because I have the advantage. I do not want him to engage me while I'm at his Spine Crawler. So here comes the Ultras right now. Remember that Ultras do a ton of damage to Stalkers, but between Immortal Colossus and Psystorm, that is going to be quite the conclusion to this game. I completely kill that off, and then he leaves without the GG, which is fine. I'm cool with it because I just beat another Masters player, baby. Alrighty, so I don't know why Blizzard keeps putting me versus so many Master League level Zerg players, but I've been able to beat a few of them. There are some losses mixed in there as well, but I would definitely say the most important things that I did incorrectly here is I didn't do any scouting, I didn't do very much harassment, and I'm trying to think of what number 3 would be. I don't know if tech switching so much is actually a good thing or not. I still haven't quite figured that out. But versus Zerg, I've learned that if you can get them to make a bunch of incorrect units, that is basically what you want as Protoss, because I think that he had expected me to go something different, so he made so many Hydras, so many Ultras, not realizing that I had tech switched several times. And I really do like the double Void Ray production, because remember, if you go for an early Forge Fast Expand as Protoss, there are several timings that you can utilize. One of them is going to be a 7-gate. Oh, excuse me, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. One of them is going to be a 7-gate timing attack, 7 to 8 gates, depending on how your micro works out, and you can do that. If that gets scouted, you can easily transition into Mass Void Ray off of 2 bases for now, and that is an option. Or you can do the Colossus timing, or you can try and trick them. The reason I like faking them out at any point that I can is because you want them being defensive, because then as Protoss, you can either secure another base. Taking a 3rd base is huge for Protoss. I would say it's the most important base for Protoss. If you can trick them into being a little bit more timid, then you're in great shape. It is when the Zerg are able to be aggressive with units like Mutalisks that you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, thankfully for me, I was able to put on enough pressure via what units I had to not allow him to get out Mass Muta. But I would say the biggest threat to Protoss right now is Mass Mutalisk. I'm actually still not sure quite how to deal with it. It's very, very tough, because it's one of those things where if you move out of your base and they have 40 mutas, there is nothing in your base that can stop those mutas except for landing a Money Storm or just leaving like 10 Archons behind. So it's definitely tough, because if you leave half your army at your main base and you attack with your other half, the mutas just fall back and kill the half that's attacking. If you stay in your base with all of your units, then the Zerg just takes the entire map, and if you move out with your entire army, then the Mutalisks just attack your main base, and it's hard to win a base race versus Zerg. So it's a very tough balance. So that's why you want to try and force a Zerg not to get out Mass Muta. I mean, just look at Nest T. He recently played a game where he had, I think, over 50 Mutalisks. And the Protoss player had a very difficult time in dealing with it because mutas are fast. There's not a whole lot of anti-air that does splash for Protoss. All you have to rely on is Psystorm and Archons, which can be very tough to actually land those hits on those units. So, yeah, mutas, I would say, are the biggest threat to Protoss right now. Other than that, though, Void Ray is very good versus everything. And yeah, a lot of fun there on ladder. So I am able to defeat a couple of master players here and there. I don't think I'm quite master level just yet. I still see big gaping holes in my play, and I definitely want to improve on them. So thank you guys for watching. Remember, go out and play your one ladder anxiety game. Let me know how it went. Come back here, post a comment below. Let me know. I love reading through these as I'm cuddling into bed. For some reason, it just helps put me to sleep. I don't know what it is, but reading about how it went for you guys is always fun. So hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time.